So, you want to date a Thai girl? Well, there's some cultural differences, traditions, and things you need to be aware of when dating here. So, why don't you come for a walk with me through the streets of Bangkok today and we'll discuss all the common mistakes to avoid when dating here in Thailand. Now, the first mistake is likely the first one that you'll encounter, and that's not to make a Thai girl or Thai person in general lose face. Now, this is something that's very strong within Thai culture. You can really offend people by making them lose face or making them feel like they've done something stupid or something wrong. An example of this is when they're late, they will be late, by the way, just prepare yourself for that. But when they're late, don't make a joke about it. And what may be a joke or banter or even flirting to us can be quite offensive to them. And if you made a little joke about them being late, you could make them feel like they've lost face and they'd be really upset by that. I've personally made this mistake before with dating and with girlfriends, and somehow it will end up being your fault. You'll end up apologizing for them being late. But I mean, this is just a part of Thai culture. It can be frustrating at times, this whole lose face thing, but the reality is it is part of the culture here and something you need to be aware of. So be careful with the flirting too, because what may be considered flirting to us and just having a bit of fun, you might actually offend them and you'll just start off on the wrong foot. The next challenge is around choosing the right place to go on your date. So if you're going to a restaurant as an example, if you choose somewhere like this is a great restaurant behind me here, but you can spend 10,000 baht in there on a dinner without breaking a sweat. Now, the reason this is important is, well, firstly, because money, and this is something we'll discuss at length a little bit later on in this video. We'll talk about paying the bill and how you should navigate all of that. But also, you're setting a precedent. So if you're taking a girl out to a really fancy place like this, they may come to think that this is what all the dates are going to be like, or this is what they can expect from you. So if you are happy to do that all the time, then sure, choose a place like this. But another thing to keep in mind is not all girls are really comfortable in these super fancy high-end places. So while you think you may be impressing them, you also might not be as well. My advice would be to take them to a middle ground type place, and ideally something that's not too touristy, so you come across as being slightly cultured if you are, but the local places and the places that they're going to feel more comfortable, you're more likely to get them to relax and open up to you, and you'll probably have a better experience because of that. Now, the next one is full of double standards and contradictions, which should come as no surprise here in Thailand, but that's around phone etiquette and what to do with your phone while on a date here. Now, the standards for you and the standards for her are obviously quite different, but we'll leave that for now. So in the West, back home, a common polite thing to do would be to put your phone face down on the table so it looks like you're not going to be distracted by the notifications that come through. However, here in Thailand, what they think when they see that is that you're hiding the notifications and that you don't want them to see what's coming through on your phone. So what to us seems like you're doing the right thing and being polite is actually the opposite. One thing I do definitely recommend doing if you're dating multiple people or you're using an app like Tinder or something like that is turn the notifications off, because Tinder is one of those ones that's a really obvious notification when it comes through. And if you have an Apple Watch, the Tinder logo also comes up on your watch when you get that notification. So be sure to turn those notifications off and leave your phone face up on the table. Weird. Now, the next polite thing to do is to leave your phone on the table if you go to the bathroom. So if you take your phone with you, they may think that you're texting other people or you're FaceTiming your other girlfriend or whatever while you're in the bathroom. So leave your phone on the table. You will notice that they do this. They often leave their phone on the table if they're trying to show that they're not texting other people. The irony and the double standard part here is that they'll usually be on their phone throughout the date anyway. They'll be checking the messages and you can't see what they're doing, but then they'll leave it there to go to the bathroom. This may all seem weird, but it's very normal here. So phone up on the table, Tinder notifications off. Then that brings us to paying the bill, and there's a lot to get into here. I could honestly probably do a video just on this topic, but I'll break it all down for you and we'll go through. There's a lot of common mistakes made here, so I'll tell you how to navigate this. So the general rule is be prepared to pay the entire bill, but don't insist on that. So a lot of Thai girls, they work, they have their own income, and they don't want to be supported by a man. And if you insist on paying, it's almost like you're belittling them or trying to say that you're above them. Now, you will get the exact opposite of that. And I've been on plenty of these dates where the bill comes and the girl just starts scrolling through her phone. She's not even interested in how much it is or whatever. That's your job and your responsibility to pay for. So my best advice for this is just to sort of check their body language and see what kind of feeling you're getting from them once the bill arrives. For me, as a general rule, when the bill comes, I'll take it and open it up and see if the girl asks how much it is, I'll tell them and I'll say, don't worry, I've got this. And then what I do after that will be based on their reaction to that. If they say, no, I want to pay half, thank them, because that's a really nice thing for them to do. And the polite thing to do is accept that. If they're saying that looking quite hesitant, like, oh, let me pay half, you can say, no, it's cool, I've got this, and then you can cover the whole bill. As I said, there is the opposite extreme where girls won't even care how much it is, that's your job. This one also ties in with what I was saying earlier about choosing the right place to go. So the girl that you're taking on a date may want to pay half the bill, and if you take her to a place that's really expensive and out of her budget or more than she was hoping to spend, you might put her in a really uncomfortable position by doing that. And then we come to tipping, and this is something I'm often asked about, is what should you do for tipping? And there's a lot of common mistakes that people make here. So the general rule is generally Thai people don't tip for a meal. They will if there's extra service involved or the people have gone out of their way to help you. So for example, if you're at a bar and they're constantly topping up your beers or something like that, then they will tip at a place like that. Now the tip amount doesn't go by percentage or anything like that. It's just a general rule that you tip 20 baht. Now, something to be conscious of, a really common mistake is tipping too much. You may think you're being generous, but what you're actually doing is being kind of condescending, and it can actually be taken as being really rude. But tipping too much can be like, oh, look at me, look at all the money I've got, throwing your money around and kind of coming across like a douchebag. So if you do decide to tip, 20 baht is kind of the standard. You can tip a little more, but tipping more than 50 baht up to 100 baht or whatever can come across as rude and insensitive. So with that being said, Thai girls are some of the kindest, most beautiful people on the planet. So if you can get past these little cultural differences at the beginning, you'll have a much better experience. So good luck. I'm going to enjoy this beer. Cheers.